Hi everyone, welcome to Inain's Forensic Classroom. I'm Inain and I'm here to take you on an exciting journey into the world of forensic science, the real science behind solving crimes, uncovering evidence and delivering justice. In the last video, we have discussed principles and laws of forensic science where we covered principle of individuality, principle of exchange and law of progressive change. Now in this video, we'll discuss about the other four laws and principles of forensic science. So the fourth principle of forensic science is principle of comparison, which states that only the likes can be compared. So this one is all about matching the right things. Matching the right things. Now, what does this mean? In simple words, only similar things can be compared, or as we say in forensics, only likes can be compared with likes. Now, let me explain this with a quick example. Imagine there's a murder case and we find a bullet inside the body. So the forensic expert examines and says, hey, this bullet looks like it was fired from a service rifle, which is a huge velocity firearm. Now, here's where the principle kicks in. It would be totally useless to send in pistol, revolvers or shotguns for testing. Why? Because they're not like the service rifle. They shoot different kinds of bullets with different speeds and different markings. So comparing that bullet to guns that aren't even in the same category is a waste of time. Let me give you another example. Let's say investigators find a questioned handwriting sample written with a ballpoint pen. Now, if you collect the samples using a fountain pen or a gel pen and try to match them, obviously it's not gonna work. Why? Because the ink flow, pressure, the writing style all are different for each type of pen. Again, only like things can be compared. So this principle helps forensic experts avoid wrong comparisons and focuses only on the items that can give meaningful results. So whenever we compare bullets, tools, footprints, handwriting or anything else, we make sure that the standard and the questioned items are of the same types. So when we talk about matching the right things, we talk about the standards and the question sample. Question sample should be of the same type. To sum it up, you cannot compare apple with oranges in forensic science. You need apples versus apples, bullet versus bullets, ballpoint versus ballpoints. That is the principle of comparison, which is very simple, logical, and very important in helping solve crimes the right way. Now, the fifth principle, principle of analysis. So this principle states that the analysis can be no better than the sample analysis, or the analysis should be done with the proper sampling is necessary for the right analysis by the expert. Now, this one is very simple but very absolutely critical. It says that the analysis is only as good as the sample being analyzed. Now, in other words, if the sample is wrong, even the best forensic lab cannot give you the right results. I'll give you a very simple example. Imagine you're baking a cake. Now you have got the best oven, perfect recipes, and you have top-notch skills. But what if the ingredients are spoiled? The cake is going to turn out terrible, right? So that's exactly what happens in forensic analysis too. Let's take a real forensic example. For example, a rape case. Suppose the investigating officer collects the victim clothes and which have both blood stains and semen stains on it. Suppose we have clothes which have both blood stains and semen stains on it, and now instead of packing the stains separately, the officer dries the clothes and packs everything together in one bag. Now, what is the problem here? When both types of stains are packed together, the blood and semen can mix, and which can give us the contaminated samples. So when the forensic experts tries to test them, the results can be accurate, inaccurate, or even completely wrong. And that's not just a mistake, it can affect the entire case. That's why this principle tells us that sampling must be done correctly. Stains and evidences should be separated properly. Proper packing and labeling are a must. Because even the most advanced forensic labs cannot undo contamination, right? So good analysis actually depends on good evidence collection. If the sample is wrong, the results will be wrong, no matter how great the lab or the expert is. Moving on to the principle of probability, this principle is based on the fact that all identification, whether definite or indefinite, is made consciously or unconsciously based on the probability. Now, what does that mean? Basically, this principle says that every identification, whether that's 100% confirmed or just a possibility, it is based on the probability. It's about the chances of something happening in a certain way out of all the possible ways it could happen. Let's break that down with few simple examples. Imagine you find a strand of hair at a crime scene. Now, the expert says that the hair that you found at the crime scene is a black hair. But millions of people have black hair, right? So the probability of it belonging to one specific person is very low unless we find more matching details like DNA. So the more unique traits we match, the higher the probability that this hair belongs to the suspect. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. I'll give you one more example. Suppose we find a shoe print at the crime scene, which is of size 9 and sports shoes. Okay, we have found shoes, size 9, and it is a sports shoes. Now tell me how many people will have size 9 shoes, which is a sports shoe? A lot of people. But if that shoe has a unique wear pattern, like a tear on the side or a specific way the sole is worn out, the possibility of that exact print belonging to someone else becomes much lower. That helps us to link it more confidently to the suspect. So this principle helps us answer questions like, how likely is it that this fingerprint belongs to this person? Or what are the chances that this fiber came from this exact shirt? Even in DNA analysis, it's based on probability. You will often hear things like the chance of this DNA profile matching someone else is 1 in a billion. That's the principle of probability in action. It helps forensic experts says that based on the evidence, this is how likely it is that the suspect is involved. So in short, forensics is not just about black and white answers. It's often about measuring how strong the evidence is based on how likely or unlikely it is to happen by chance. Now coming to the last law of forensic science, which is law of circumstantial fact, which states that facts do not lie, men can and do. This principle is summed up in just one line, which is very strong, that facts do not lie, men can and do. It sounds very intense, right? But it's absolutely true. See, when a crime happens, people may lie, the suspect might lie, the witnesses might be confused, the story might be twisted. But what doesn't lie? The evidence, the facts, the scene. Let me give you an example. Imagine a man says, I was never near that house. But that evidence says otherwise. His fingerprints is on the doorknob, the footprint matching his shoe size is near the window, the CCTV footage shows him passing by. Now, who do you believe? His words or the silent facts that are left behind? That's what the circumstantial evidences is all about. Clues that surround the evidence that tells a story through logic and not opinion. Sometimes there may be no direct witness, no confession, but the facts that are left behind when put together, it creates a clear picture. So this law reminds us evidences may whisper, but it never lies. So that's all about principles and laws of forensic science. Very interesting and very important. In the next video, we'll talk about the significance of forensic science. If you found this video interesting, give it a like, share it with your fellow forensic enthusiasts, and do not forget to subscribe to Inain's Forensic Classroom. If you have any questions, suggestions, or any curious topics that you want me to cover, drop them in the comments and I will love to hear from you. Until next time, keep observing, keep questioning, and remember, every clue tells a story. Bye bye, see you soon.